Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with another university themed video. You guys seem to really benefit from these, and obviously as I'm going through this experience I like to offer my perhaps not so wise advice to you guys. As you could probably see by the title, the general theme of this video is whether or not uni is right for me and kind of how to tell if it's right or not for you. I think that this is something I would have really benefited from probably this time last year when I was applying to move away to university. Just generally something that I would have found really helpful because it wasn't something I ever saw online. I never saw anybody else speaking about it, and I very much had university is the main option drilled into me from sixth form, and I do think it's interesting to see other people's perspective, other people's like experience with that kind of thing. So I thought I would talk about it. I'll be the wiser older sister if you're in sixth form. If you're not in sixth form and you're at uni watching this, then hey, I'm just having a chat. Now, I asked you guys over on Instagram, my trusty Instagram followers, what you want to know, basically, because I feel like I'm in quite a good position to talk about this, being somebody that was incredibly undecided about whether or not to go to university. Still am. What's new? Molly can't make a decision. And it is really difficult. Like, honestly, it isn't a decision to be taken lightly. It isn't a decision that you can make overnight, and university is like a big thing and schools put a lot of pressure on it, so knowing whether or not it is right for you is so important. So I asked you guys on Instagram for questions, anything you wanted to know, and I'm just going to quick fire go through them and then talk a little bit about my experience. Now I'm going to try and get through quite a lot, so I'm going to do this speedy. Okay, so the first question that I got asked over on Instagram is this: what would you take into account when choosing between two very vastly different universities? This kind of brings me into a wonderful app suggestion that I'm sure you guys have heard of, but if you haven't, I am here to tell you about. This app is called Unicom, and I could not recommend it highly enough to you. If you haven't heard of it, it is an app that basically essentially solves that problem for you. They have kindly sponsored this video, so this is hashtag ad. I'm going to put it here, it'll be in the title, blah blah blah. I would not be telling you about it if I didn't think it was absolutely incredible. The features this app has are actually super helpful. So it basically looks like this, and what it is an app that allows you to compare various different unis. It literally is called Unicompare. Wow, great description, Molly. It allows you to look side by side at courses that you're looking at universities that you are looking at, and kind of look at it all in one place. It's so much easier than looking at loads of different websites, having loads of different tabs open on your laptop. It's literally in one place. So the university and courses pages of the app, which are on screen here, actually have loads of information. Like, I wish I'd had this. I wish I'd looked into this a little bit more, and in hindsight, if I could go back to this time last year, I think this would be really beneficial. So if you are in year 12 or 13 and you're thinking about university applications, I really recommend downloading this. There is also an option to upgrade this app, so when you're on the app, if you think actually I kind of fancy the other features that are available with the upgraded version, which is £6.99 a month, which I think is actually really reasonable for what you get. So basically it allows you to talk to other students at the university that you're looking at applying to, which I think is actually a great idea, because who has better advice than people that have studied there in the past? I personally didn't speak to any students at the uni that I'm at now, and I do think it would have been really helpful and really interesting to get their perspective, because it's all well and good walking around and having shiny prospectuses thrust in your face, but like, they are the people living that experience. They're the best people to speak to. Now this feature is £6.99 a month, which you may think is expensive, but for those people who need it, it is so beneficial, because quite often you don't get that information in school, and it really does help. Trust me, this is a big decision. Like, and the last thing that I think is really useful, which I personally have done because I haven't fully ruled out the idea of going to university after my gap year, or seeing where life takes us. So I have actually inputted my UCAS points. Obviously I already have my A-level, so I know what my UCAS points are, but you can put predicted grades in, and it kind of like lets you know roughly how many points you've got. There will be a link to where you can download this app in the top line of the description. I can't recommend it enough. I have recommended this app to people without it being an ad, so I'm just super grateful that Unicompare have decided to work with me, because like, genuinely consider this just friendly advice. Just check it out. That being my number one tip when trying to work out whether or not university is right for you. So yeah, going back to the initial question, my main thing would be to weigh up what's important to you, because it's a personal thing as well. So if you know nightlife's important, if you know that the links to your home are important, then look at all of those things and kind of make a list side by side. The app does it perfectly, but if you want to be old school, you could write out a list and just think, look, what is more important to me? If they're totally different, maybe go and visit them again, because you are going to be living there. Like, go and see them. So the next question that I got sent over on Instagram, which I got a lot of again, is how hard is it spending time alone in your room And what about living with new people? So living alone in your room, that was the main thing I found difficult. When I first moved here, I found it very hard because I come from a very sociable family. I had not really experienced a lot of alone time, and it was a shock, but you do get used to it. And now I'm actually quite okay in my own company. Sometimes I kind of like it, and I think that you do adjust to it, but it's definitely a new feeling. Living with new people, that totally depends on your flatmates. It is just chance, it is luck of the draw, so I can't really predict that. But if you're a sociable person, you like meeting new people, then I think university in that respect could really be for you. But both things are such new experiences, so be prepared and don't walk into it blind like I did, where I just thought, oh, it's gonna be exactly like living at home. Wrong. A lot of people ask me this, and I can't really answer for other people, but stay local or move away, how do I know which is right? That is such a personal thing. I thought that I was ready to move out of Yorkshire. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna move to London for university. That was literally always my plan. If I was going to uni, I was going in London, otherwise I wasn't going at all. Leeds was not on the cards, like it was not. It was London, maybe Manchester, and that was it. Like, and then I went to visit a university in London, and I just didn't like it. I didn't gel with it. I really didn't see myself there, and I thought, okay, maybe it's time to reconsider, because I liked the course, but I didn't like how far away it was from home, because for me London is a 3-hour train, and then where this university was, it was almost like, it was like the O2, it was like Greenwich, and that was like another hour, so it was a long way from home. Going there made me realise actually I wasn't ready for that, so I started looking at the course a little bit more local, but I knew that I still wanted to move out of my city, or I thought I did. Mistakes were made, but here we are. So I started looking in like a 1-hour radius, and I think that that is a really good idea. If you're undecided about whether or not you feel ready to move away from home, stay close enough so that you can go back, because I feel like if you're doubting it, you don't want to move yourself to the other end of the country. If you feel like you might get homesick, if you live in Brighton and you decide, you know what, I'm going to move up to Newcastle, that might be a struggle. Leeds is an hour from home for me, it's perfect, so it is a personal decision, but yeah, that would be my advice. Do you think you would have enjoyed or coped with this experience better if you were in Hull? No, definitely not. I think that I would have dropped out instantly if I was at Hull College, because the course I do isn't run at universities, it's run at like art schools, art colleges, or art specific universities, and they do run this course in Hull. I get that question a lot, but I knew that wasn't right for me. I knew that staying in Hull was not a good decision. If I was going to do this, I wanted to move away, and you're probably thinking, but Molly, you hated it when you moved here. That is true. I just did not want to continue my education at home. I'm happy to go home and continue my life there, but not my education. I wanted the experience of moving away to see if it was for me. I wanted to test the waters basically, and I don't really like the look of Hull College too much. Do you believe that uni is the only option? No. Oh my god. Right, if my sixth form are watching this one's for you, because I feel like they drill it into you so much that university is the main option, it's the best option, the route that you're supposed to take, the route that's the best option, the route that your parents will be the most proud of. Like, that's all wrong. For want of a better word. It's literally not true at all. There are so many other routes, and I think they're just looked down on. Like, if you want to look into an apprenticeship or just a job, like god forbid you might just want a job, just do it for you, because I think by the time you're 18 you're old enough to think, I don't really need to listen to you, I have my own opinion. So my sixth form very much liked the idea of Oxford, Cambridge, Russell Group universities. You'll go here and study law or something like that. I didn't gel with that really, and it's not even that I wasn't academic. Like, I could have gone to university to study a subject like that. I got the grades, like I could have done it, but I think you've got to know what's right for you. It's hard, it is. It's definitely not the only option. There's a whole list of options. In fact, I'll put some other suggestions on the screen right now, because there's literally tons and tons. A lot of people ask me this one. Do you regret going? My initial answer to this is, like, my initial thought to this is yes, I do. But then when I sit and think about it, I actually think, actually no, I'm glad I've had this experience. There are memories that I've made here and stories that I'll be able to tell for the rest of my life that I wouldn't have if I hadn't done this, and I'm glad that I've done it. I'm glad I've made friends with some amazing people. Like, I really do get on well with the friends I've made here, and I think that that is something I will take into the rest of my life. What I regret doing is the course, because I don't think the course has benefited me in any way, shape or form. I don't think it's relevant to my life. If I stopped it tomorrow, my life would neither be better or worse, it would just continue existing as it is. An art foundation is a great stepping stone if you maybe don't get the grades you want, or you aren't sure which university you want to go to, or you're really set on applying to a super competitive art school. Because I'm none of the above, I'm just kind of there like, hey, I'm here to take some pictures, check out my Instagram. I'm worried about not seeing my boyfriend enough as he isn't at uni. Sister, I relate. So yeah, this was obviously a massive thing when deciding if uni was right for me, and I think subconsciously that's why I didn't move down south as well, because I thought I can't be that far away from Tom. Obviously you guys know my boyfriend Tom. It would have been really difficult for us to make our relationship work if I lived in South London and he lived in Yorkshire. Like it's not a commutable distance. Like it's not, that's like a 1 month, maybe once every 2 months kind of thing, and I just wasn't, like, I can't deal with that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely okay if you want to think about your relationship. It's so looked down upon because you're not ready to make that decision when you're 18, but you know how you feel about somebody at 18. You know what the right decision is for you, and you have to think about that. Like, it's so okay to let yourself think, well, maybe I don't want to move miles and miles away from my boyfriend. Still make the decision for you, but let yourself think about it, because it's so looked down upon. Like, oh, don't go to the same university as your boyfriend, don't move to the same town just because your boyfriend is. And obviously don't make that the sole reason, but you are allowed to consider it. If you are going long distance, then I think that you really can make it work. I'm gonna do a separate video on this because I think it's a common concern, and it was one that I definitely had, but you can absolutely make it work. Obviously I'm only an hour away from Tom, but we see each other a lot less than what we did this time last year. We see each other once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, and last year we saw each other every single day. So like, it was a change, but you're allowed to worry about it, but you've just got to go into it with the mindset that you're going to make it work. I love this one. Somebody just said money, full stop. This was a big factor for me, and I'd be lying if it wasn't. Personally, for me, and I am going to get comments about this because I always do, the student loan thing was a big put off, because to me, like, that money is my money. I don't want to live out of somebody else's. I don't want to live off a loan, and I understand that that is literally what university is, and that I have a kind of skewed mindset. Like, that's me. I know that. It's chill. You don't need to tell me. It was just a big thing, because especially because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what course was right for me. Didn't know where I wanted to live. Because of all of that, going to university for the sake of going to university and paying whatever you pay, it just didn't know. Which is why I did this course. Once you're here, if you're living out of a loan, student budgeting is like a massive thing, and it is hard. Like, living on a budget as a student when you want to live your absolute best life and go out and drink and do all of this all the time is not easy. But it depends on so many things, so you've just got to really weigh it up before you go. But make sure you know what you can spend each month. Don't overspend. Look at the cheapest ways of cooking, because food's expensive. That is where a lot, if not most, of my money goes. And also, don't go ridiculous in the first couple of weeks on going out. Like, do not spend all of your loan in the first couple of weeks, because you have got to survive on that money. So yeah, I'm not in the best position to talk about this because I don't get a student loan. I don't actually really know how it works, so we're going to kind of skim over that, but feel free to leave a comment down below for other people. This one made me sad. I got a lot of this as well. Would I be out of place or stand out if I didn't go clubbing, as that's not really my thing? No, there are loads of people at uni that don't actually like clubbing. It's such like preconceived misconception, and it's just not true. Like, there are a lot of people that go out all the time. That is true, there are, but there are also a lot of people that don't, and you've just got to find your people. You've just got to find people that maybe aren't too bothered if you don't want to go out all the time. Yeah, something I would say is, though, don't completely put off new experiences, because I thought I hated going out. My experience with clubbing at home, pretty rubbish. If you're from Hull, you'll know the clubs are pretty dire. Like, there's not that much there, and it's not really known for its good night outs. It's not up there with Leeds, Newcastle, Manchester in terms of like night out rankings. You don't really hear about Hull, so I never really had a good experience. Leeds did totally change my mind, and I think the nightlife here is insane. I think it's a really good night out, so don't be put off by new experiences. But if you know that drinking's not your thing, you will find other people like that too. It's not just one long night out. Like, it might seem like it is, but it's not. What if I decide it's not for me after I've already enrolled? Okay, this is a big thing for me, because I so nearly dropped out. Like, so unbelievably nearly dropped out, to the point where, like, I pretty much had my dad on speed dial ready to come and get me, because I just hated it. I was like, I'm gonna give it 1 more week, I'm gonna give it 2 more days, I'm gonna give it 1 more hour. And I thought, do you know what, I'll stick it out. However, there is absolutely no shame in dropping out. This is the first decision that as a human being you have like real control over, and you don't have to stay for the sake of somebody else. Like, the university aren't going to care if you drop out. Your school are no longer bothered if you drop out. Your parents, obviously that is like a situation that you're in, and you know how your parents will handle it, but ultimately they want the best for you. Don't be ashamed. If you start university and you really give it a go, and you just think after, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks or a month, I don't fit in here, I don't feel happy here, I can't see myself here for 3 years, then that is okay. Don't force yourself to be in a situation that you literally do not have to be in. Like, you don't have to stay. Nobody talks about that really, so here's me telling you. So yeah, that is basically everything. I hope you guys feel a little bit more enlightened on this. My personal experience of this is that you can't know until you work it out yourself. Like, I can sit here and give you advice until next September when the next term starts. Ultimately, you have to just make the decision, and that is really difficult. I think decision making is so difficult, especially when it's something like this. Personally, I struggle with it a lot because knowing what's right isn't always as black and white as it sounds, basically. But yeah, you've just got to take the plunge and you've got to go with your gut decision. So if you genuinely sit there and think, I don't think this is right for me, don't put yourself through a situation that you really don't need to force yourself to be in. Like, you don't have to do that. Just in the same way as if you're sat there thinking, maybe it is for me, and you're kind of tempted to test it, put your everything into that decision and go and start there and give it your all. And then if after a month you feel like, wait, I think this decision is wrong, go back and retract it, because you can. No matter how your school makes you feel, because it isn't your school's decision at the end of the day. It isn't their life. It's not them that's going to be sitting in those lectures in September, it's you. So that is my like parting message from this video. Thank you so much to Unicom for working with me on this. I can't recommend it highly enough to you guys. Like, if you're in year 13 or even year 12 and you're looking at universities that you can't really compare and you're really unsure, like, I literally recommend this so much. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any other questions or any other things that you want answering, down below in the comments, let me know. I will get back to every single one of you that comments anything, because I know how stressful this time of year can be. I'm gonna do a couple more university related videos. I want to do a long distance relationships chat. I want to do an A-levels chat, because obviously A-levels are coming up. Stay tuned. If you're quite into the education-y kind of content, then that will be coming up soon. If you're here for my other content, stick around. Lots of other exciting stuff coming as well. Subscribe so that you see it all down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up, and I shall be back on whenever I next upload, basically. I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye!